You found a quiet corner of your mind, a shelf where all the broken things were piled. The stories told in whispers and in scars brought you here beneath these waiting stars. Not for a fix or just to soothe the ache, but for the chance that something new could break. So let the silence hold you like a seam where every thread of hope begins to gleam. This is the in-between. Welcome to the butterfly room, where healing's not an end, it is a tune. You learn to hum and gender afternoons. Transformation blooms from a cocoon of questions. You'll be led to see the colors waiting in the thread. Welcome to the butterfly room. We'll hold the lens up to the hidden part, the dormant art that's beating in your heart. We'll map the change, the subtle, steady turn, the lessons that the aftermath can earn. Not to erase the lines that make your map, but to unfold the wings and cross the gap and watch the old shell fragile drift away, making space for the new light of day. In this alchemical space, welcome to the butterfly room.
We have this amazing show that I'm looking forward to definitely hearing from our host and all along that way. But our hostess has definitely got a lot of insights and a lot of things that are going on in her life. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing her amazing guests and all in that space. I'll bring Toya into the space and everything like that. Still trying to get up the pictures that she wants, but we'll have that in a matter of a minute and all along those lines because I know we have to have this moment of silence and everything like that. But I'll let you talk about your life and your guests, and then I will have that moment of silence as soon as we get everything situated.
Thank you so much, Mark, for the warm welcome. As you know, sometimes we don't know what it's going to be, but today we have a great guest today. And this particular sister, in the year 2015, there were some changes, and she's going to share with us. But without further ado, I'm just going to tell you something about the founder and CEO of the Phoenix Foundation. And basically, this is a 501c organization and dedicated to brain aneurysm awareness and research and survivor support. And Kay, she's dedicated herself to raising awareness of the signs and symptoms of brain aneurysms in an effort to create more survivors and thrivers. So since its inception in 2019, the following has happened. But we're going to bring Kay in so she can be present when we do that. You're going to bring her on in, Mark? Mark? Hey, Kay, how are you doing?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. And as Mark said, it's a day that we just know that we have to move forward. And I know that today we're going to be talking about perseverance and resilience as you as the survivor here. And as I just mentioned with the Phoenix Foundation, some days you don't know what's going to happen. But before we get into you introducing yourself to us, but I want to go through some highlights here. And it says here that you hosted a kickoff walk that promoted brain aneurysm awareness in the state. And in May of 2026, you're going to be having your third event called Movement in Medicine. That's amazing. 3 years in the making. Also, you were recognized by the City Council of Plainfield, New Jersey in its acknowledgement of Brain Aneurysm Awareness Month and featured during the house music on the plaza in the city of Plainfield in September of 2025. And as we know that house music, it moves our soul. And that's one of the things that the Butterfly Room does daily. And as you know, for those who have listened, catch one of our playbacks, as a group therapist, one of the things that I had to do is run a partial hospitalization program. And when I tell you, the constituents said, you know, we love music. I'm not knocking Hazelton or anything like that, but can we do something different? So what they would do is I would give folks, you know what, for next week, we're going to do some songs. And then eventually that's what moved us. So when you say house music, is that what you love? Is that your favorite genre?
House music all night long.
Okay. So
It
yeah,
soothes your soul. Yes.
yes, definitely. But hello and welcome, Kay.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It was a dream of mine that, make sure we get the word out about brain aneurysms and that you can survive. We know it's a grace of God, and we know that God will place those particular doctors in your life that
Mm-hmm.
will assist the process, because a lot of us don't survive. You can go in an instant. Once it pops, you really don't have a whole lot of time to get to the hospital, get into surgery, for them to even clear your head to see what's going on. So it truly is the grace of God and the surgeons that, help you get through the initial aneurysm once it pops.
Yes, and it's a blessing that you're here today on February the 26th, 2026. You see that? 26, 26.
Yes,
I love
yes,
numbers.
yes, yes. I really didn't think I would make it as a 10-year survivor. Um, Actually, we're going into the 11th year, and
Amen.
it truly, truly is remarkable. You have a new normal.
Mm-hmm.
My new normal is no taste, no smell, no tears.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make adjustments. Thank God for the people that He has placed in my life, my family, my circle of sisters, my friends. They all make sure that I'm okay. I don't have a problem with sharing with them that this is my new normal. Watch out for me because I may do this or I may say this. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
forget this. And especially with the cooking and not smelling, I burn up a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
that's my new normal.
And that's better than being somewhere else. And
Yes.
and before we do that, before we dive into this, Mark, I just want to have a moment of silence. I'm not sure if he's ready for that because today, one of my dear friends, we funeralized her in her memory, and as well on today, she lost her husband, and we were not knowing that they were going to be together. And I wanted to honor my friend Geisha Victoria Hayes Spruill. She was born in New Brunswick on April the 6th, 1972, and she departed this life on February 10th of 2026. And now today, February 26th of 2026, her husband, James Spruill of Trenton, New Jersey. And today, I wanted to make this show earlier, and as things started to unfold, um, it was meant. It was meant for me because she was going to be a future guest on my show, and she lost her fight to cancer. And one of the common things today was that she touched everyone's life. And Kay, as you said, the support system, sometimes we don't know what our story is. And the Butterfly Room is a place for putting the pen down because I've worked with so many people, in the legal system, folks, DWIs, sex offenders, parolees, probationers, folks who were mandated for DIFAS. And then to go on and run that, and then to have to come back to where I grew up, it's hard because you hear and see things and experience things. But today, you could hear the love in the room, and we really need to celebrate folks' life, that dash,
Yes.
what was talked
Yes.
about, what happened in that dash. And I think that one of the common things that's with your new normal, I don't know if I said this public to anyone, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when you and I had that conversation, and that's how
Yes.
we spoke. And now look where we are now. We had a
Yes.
conversation at a meeting. And I wrote you down in my book. I have my book. And all I did was pull my book out. And now I know and definitely can say that God makes no mistakes. Mark, let me know when you're there because I'm talking because, I'm learning with the producer. He's always sometime on double duty. But that's the part of things fall into place. We met. You
Yes.
prayed.
Yep.
I needed to change something because I was supposed to have surgery on Tuesday. That didn't happen. And
All
so
right.
you see how that is. And sometimes I've learned that silence is the best thing because God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And I think that one day we notice that when you have health issues, the switch just flips.
Yes.
Right? It flips one day. And then you have to decide what's more important. If I'm tired, what am I going to spend my energy on? You know what that feels like, right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna keep going because I don't know what Mark is doing on over there. But okay, Mark, you
Technology
ready?
is a wonderful thing. Still trying to get that together and all along those lines. But I did have a quick question for Kay, and all along those lines while I'm getting that together because we do want to honor your friend and all in that space. At what point and how did you realize that you had a brain aneurysm? Because I know that I had a dear friend that passed away, Jocelyn McKissick. Many people knew her as Makeda, and she was actually at a Sweet Honey in the Rock concert when she had her first aneurysm, and I think she might have had a couple of aneurysms during her life before she passed away. But a lot of people were shocked because it was in a public venue when she actually had her first one, and this was decades ago. And all along those lines, and she did live many years with that brain aneurysm, and was still very much of an activist, and I want to say even a teacher and an educator. So I was just wondering, what was your first experience like, and how did it occur with you? Because, like I said, in the case of Makeda McKissick, it was, I think that first one was literally that Sweet Honey in a Rock concert.
The symptoms were subtle. I'd say maybe a week before, I noticed I was like really tired when I would come home from work and I would just lay down. That's a symptom, but nobody really pays attention to it because you work all day, you have a husband, you have children, grocery store, whatever, and you're tired. Never had a headache. I had a pain in my neck that went from like the bottom of my skull right across the top of my shoulder. And the more you try to massage it, it didn't go anywhere. And then I noticed like 2 or 3 nights trying to get comfortable to sleep, I just couldn't get my neck positioned properly. So I just kept turning my head till I could find somewhere comfortable to sleep. I had went to an Eastern Star event down in Newark. And while I was there, I felt tension in my neck. And one of the sisters kept trying to massage it. And I kept telling her it wasn't alleviating the pain. We came back to the lodge in Plainfield. And another sister looked at me and she said, "Your eyes are red." And I said, "They are?" And she said, "Yeah." So I went in the bathroom and put cold compress on my eyes and they were red. And I'm figuring, my allergies, I have bad allergies. That was a Sunday. That Monday, still the uncomfortable in the neck. So I left work and I went to the emergency center. They took an x-ray and they said, "Oh, you have arthritis in your neck." I said, "Okay." And they said, "Your blood pressure is a little bit high, but that could be because you came to the doctor and you got pain in your neck." Okay. And I never was diagnosed with high blood pressure. Go to the doctor regularly for my checkups. Never came up. And then that Wednesday, I was at work in a meeting and got excited in the meeting. And as I was being excited, I felt like a pop. And I just started seeing bright orange, bright yellow, and I couldn't see nothing but those big bright colors. But I started reaching out to my coworkers like this, telling them something is wrong. And then it was like, oh, and it wasn't a headache. It felt like a sledgehammer was hitting me in the back of my head. And so they called a rescue squad. Rescue squad came, first thing they do, take your blood pressure. And I was at stroke level. So that meant get her out of here. I was awake the whole time, which was great. I kept talking to them. They kept talking to me. We got to JFK Hospital. And when they called in the neurological team, they said, and I don't know, but that's their job. They said, you're bleeding in your head. We're going to have to instantly schedule surgery and get the blood out your head. And I'm like, okay. They said, listen, you have aneurysm. And I'm still going like this. I'm not going to say everything I said, but I was giving directions and I was busy talking and I was looking at them like they were crazy. And, you know, they did what they had to do. They knocked me out so I could stop talking. And they did the first surgery and removed all the blood out my head. And then they informed my family that I had another aneurysm that was going to bust. And that the treatment would be that they were going to coil it. Clip it.
Cauterize?
No, clip it. They had to clip it.
Okay.
They couldn't do nothing with it. I have a titanium clamp in my head on that particular aneurysm so that it doesn't swell and pop.
Wow.
And after they did the first surgery to remove all the blood out my head, and I was still talking normal, and then they had the regular surgery scheduled so that they could clamp the other one. And like I said, the symptoms I had, to Mark's question, were very, very subtle, less normal symptoms that you would have every day. But the biggest thing was the misdiagnosis at the emergency center. And then the second thing was I had undiagnosed high blood pressure.
Interesting, because at the doctor, they told you that you didn't meet the baseline.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. And as it turned out, it was undiagnosed high blood pressure, which, you know, when you get excited, the blood goes through the vessels. And if it keeps going too fast, you get the boop and you get the pop. And it's instant. And so they prepared me for the next surgery that morning. And when they got in, they did what they were supposed to do, but the body decided, let's go into stroke mode. So I had a stroke on the table. And so by the time they finished, I turned out I had what they call a subarachnoid hemorrhage. And most of those leave you paralyzed, no talking, no walking. But look at God is all I could say. And once I realized I'm okay to a point, I'm saying I'm normal. My normal. It's my new normal.
Yes.
And if you can't adjust to it, then I'm just going to say, okay, see you around, because I'm going to live. I'm going to live. God left me here for a reason. And I kept trying to find people to talk to. There are really, really no support groups because most of us don't survive, or we have severe disabilities that we don't function as to what would be normal.
Yes.
So when I said, okay, well, there got to be some people here. And I found out in the state of New Jersey, they did have a support group, but it kind of fizzled out. It was in New Brunswick, and they didn't have any more meetings. And so then, I sit and I think, and in my prayer time, God said, you tell the message.
Yes. And that's basically what this is. And you hit every point, because I would refer people there was a clearinghouse, right? So if someone came in, it's a purple book, and I still have it on there. And as you said, after COVID, a lot of those particular establishments were never reestablished. So that's what we're looking for. So here, there are support groups online, but they're not vetted. And that's where, as a professional, one of the things that I said that is needed was a place for that. So that's something to come. So here we're going to be planning a conference. So that's going to be the place. And as we keep talking about it, now what I see is a partnering of the Phoenix Foundation with the Butterfly Room to provide that, because I was the group leader. So when I saw folks, as I mentioned in another show, the co-pays, because now what they're doing is, if you are not going through their provider, virtual $5. If you go through something $15, who wants to pay $15 or $5? You want to pay the $5. But what if you can go for free?
Right.
Even better. So thank you for that point.
Yes.
Appreciate that and everything. And by the way, Toya, we can't have that moment of silence. I'm sorry that it took a minute, but I do have that. So we'll do the overlay and just have that moment of silence for your friend.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
My dear Geisha, she never made it, but she made it to episode 7, Survivor Story. She lost
Awesome.
her fight to cancer, and as we can say, for everyone that was there today, her heart was open. And despite
Yes.
her going through what she's going, empowered everyone, prayed for everyone, and that's when everyone said collectively today, how are you saying that? You're sitting in a hospital bed. Well, now we know who she's with. And she
Yes.
continued to do what she needed to do and fight a good fight. Thank
But
you.
that's what we do. We go into survivor mode, not only for ourselves, but to make the people that care about us and love us more comfortable. I remember
Mhm.
I looked at my children and I'm going into the operating room and you could see the concern on their faces. And the first thing I did was I said, smile,
Mhm.
smile. I'm going to be fine.
Yes.
You need to smile. I'm going to be all right. I didn't
Okay.
know.
Okay, it's interesting you said that because another friend who unfortunately passed away, I think she died of cancer and everything like that, but she had a smile on her face until the time that she passed away. She actually ran one of our programs. I think it was it wasn't Crab Exchange. I think it was Seesaw, which was like a program to help youth and learn media and other things along those lines. But definitely, I want to say up until her last day, and she was given a terminal diagnosis. But whenever you saw her, she had a positive outlook and an outlook and a belief that she was going to live past the deadline that they gave her in terms of her lifespan. Because I think they told her she had like another 3 months to live or another 4 months to live, and I think she wound up living another 2 to 3 years past that and everything like that. So
Yeah.
she actually lived past what they were expecting because she had a very positive outlook about that terminal diagnosis and everything like that. So that attitude is, I'm a big believer that attitude and the attitude that we create for ourselves can help in our healing journey.
Yes.
Yes, it can. Because where you can see, say, like if you have um a disease that you know, say like the diabetes, you know that if you take your
Mhm.
medicine, it kind of regulates it, or you have high blood pressure or heart issues, you take your medication. We can't see in our head. We
Right.
don't know what's going on. So I can't live my life saying, oh, what is that? Oh, do I have another aneurysm? Oh, what's going on? I have to wake up every day believing I'm
Mhm.
okay. I
Yes.
can't wake up every day saying, is another aneurysm going to pop? Nope. I'm going to get up, say my prayers, thank God I'm alive, sing a song, dance a little bit,
Yes.
enjoy the day, enjoy life, and ask God, what can I do for you today? And that could be somebody come up to my car window and say, can you give me $1? I'm doing that because that's God's person. God
Mhm.
said, give him $1. I give him $1. So I did something for God today as well as for myself. And you have to have the positive outlook. You just cannot go around living sad, remorseful. And like I said, I often get sad because I wonder, why did I stay and everybody left instantly? I was in the hospital when Lisa Calagrassi died. She was at work. They were filming the news segment. The cameraman said, okay, it's a wrap. She got in the car, in the van, and he said she went like this. Ooh, and
Oh,
she was gone.
Wow.
ABC News anchor woman, and she was gone.
wow.
And I'm sitting there looking at the TV like, but I'm here.
It wasn't your time.
And that's so true. And that's so true. But we do have a survivor's remorse about it. And then when I see that I'm functioning at a level of my new normal. But then I was able, when we went to Capitol Hill for Advocacy Day, I was able to meet other survivors. Most of the time, you meet the caregivers
Mhm.
or the family members, but there's still not a lot of survivors. And since I've been talking about it, I have been able to meet quite a few survivors. And I'm so happy and excited about that. And we get to share stories, and I'm making contacts as the Phoenix Foundation is still in its infancy. But now that I've connected with you, Toya, I know we're going to,
We're
that
gonna
butterfly,
take flight. We're gonna take
that
flight.
Phoenix is going to recreate itself every 30 days, and we're going to take off.
Yes.
And we're going to get that word out, because it started small. I did the research and found out that I believe it was Thomas Kane Jr. who was the first one that introduced the bill for September to be Brain Aneurysm Awareness Month, September, in the state of New Jersey, but nobody knew about it. And once I found that out, then I went to the city and asked the city if they would recognize that September would be Brain Aneurysm Awareness Month. And then we went to the house music, and then Parks and Recreation, we do the movement is medicine.
Yes.
So it's all coming together.
You know,
it's coming together. Yeah.
And see, the thing here is, and the reason why I was very specific in this, because I have different diagnoses.
Yes.
And I feel sometimes I'm the woman with the issue of blood, because there's different things you don't want to share. And I felt that with dating, you tell someone and you're thinking you're fragile. No, you're a vessel.
Yeah.
And what you're explaining is you have to accept this is your story. However, we're not in charge. And for you to be here, like having the remorse, it's not your time. So now with me, think about it. Headaches. I'm getting headaches. I don't know what they said. So now I had to go back 6 months, go get another MRI. So now they said, come back in a year. What does that mean? But now I'm afraid because I get a headache. So what I'll do is I pray before I go to bed if I have a long day. So sometimes, because I'm very hyper, right? But I have hypothyroidism because I have 4 nodules. So there's things I don't want to talk about, but I have multiple things. But knowing, when I worked with folks who had traumatic brain injuries, right? TBIs, right? There was one kid that came in, he got hit in the head with a bat. So he said to his mom, you know, we came into the family section. She said, he forgets to pick up his plate from the table. I said, ma'am, his short memory recall is damaged. That center of his brain is damaged. Yes. I said, so what we're going to do is you need to put a card as a placemat. You can laminate it. So when he gets up, he knows the routine. Take my plate and do that. He can't remember. Said, okay. Once they did that, they were okay assisting with that. You know, but he could remember. But she said, well, he can remember from a child. I said, because that part of his brain is not diminished.
Yes.
So when you say new normal, for anyone that's listening, anyone that has anything with your brain, we cannot see at all. So you have to learn the new normal. And then what happens, have patience, because you might have to watch them, because people are prideful. So, okay, my question is, because Mark took my other question, is there something that the family did not know and you did not want to say about an ability? Because I had to talk to people, and because in my realm, they end up abusing drugs. So imagine a person with a brain injury, now they're using drugs because they don't know their new normal. So then that's a double-edged sword. So for anyone listening, is there something that you did not share with the family that was a symptom of any assistance that you may have needed, that someone who's listening can help them not have a conflict at home?
I don't know if it's just me. I would just go with what I would do and go with the flow. I looked at Sarah one day. She came to check on me. I opened up the door. I said, hi, Lindsay. And she said, Lindsay? I said, yeah. Why are you acting like that's not your name? And she said, okay, I'll be Lindsay. And I didn't care. When I realized her name is Sarah, I didn't care. I'm going with it. Right now, you're Lindsay. That's what came to my mind. That's what it is. When I put the food on and walk out the kitchen and I'll start washing clothes, Gregory will say, are you cooking? Oh, and that's that short term. Goes right away. Because I can't smell it. I don't remember I'm cooking. And it's burnt. So I tell them, yeah, I'll burn up the food, but if they say, "Okay, fry us some chicken. Can we have this? Can we have that?" I'll cook it. But somebody else better pay attention to make sure.
Make sure that it doesn't burn
Thank
and
you for
everything like
sharing
that.
that. You see how easy that was?
Now, that was really easy for her.
Because sometimes a person may have been a superb cook and they forget. And then you have to
Yes.
also think if you're an older person, you're aging too.
Yeah,
So
well,
then
I
that's
am
when
aging.
the
Yes.
symptoms can mimic one another. So what I always tell people, I have a lot going on as a multitasker. I gotta have a
Yes.
list. I think everybody needs to have a list because the list, because when you go into Walmart, for example, you go in there, I had two things and what do you come out with? So just write a list.
Yeah,
That's a tool for
I
peace. You know, the
do.
butterfly
Yes.
room. What's a tool for peace? Write a list,
Yep, quite a list.
right?
Yeah. And that's what the doctor told me. I'm still not all that technology where I'll say, put the list in the phone. I'm a paper person. I got a pen and a paper. I write it down, go to the store, cross it off. Hopefully remember that I brought the list with me. If not, then I sit down and try to figure it out again and write another list. So I adjust to my new normal. And like you said, the short-term memory really is a factor in the neurological injuries.
Realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a lot
Because
of those neurological injuries because my brother's got MS. I've talked to on this show as well as um, Dr. Diamond show and other shows about that. But he has a very positive attitude and everything along those lines. I did not realize, but I'll share this with y'all because I knew it was a long time ago. But Miss Jocelyn, the one I call Makeda and everything like that, she actually passed
Mhm.
in 2005. So she's been gone from us for about 20 years and everything like that. And I was correct. It was a first that she had an aneurysm, but she was a activist and very much of an activist because she was born in Asheville to the late Floyd and Evelyn McKissick. Floyd was actually one of the founders of CORE and everything like that, but she died on March 15th, 2005. So she's getting ready to come up on her 21st death anniversary and all along those lines.
Mhm.
But she did a lot of work when she was living because she was one of the first people that actually integrated some of the schools because she attended Hillside High School before becoming the first African American to integrate, attend, and graduate from Durham High School in May of 1960. And then she went on to
Wow.
Spelman before graduating from NCCU. And she received her master's degree from Harvard in 1971. And she was seen as a educational innovator. This is something you'll enjoy, Toya. She was a educator innovator with several federal prisons. She also served as a teacher and counselor at Kittrell Job Corps and the Vance Granville Community College for several years. And I remember when she was doing that work, and some of her earliest activism was displayed at age 14 when she organized the picketing of the Royal Ice Cream shop in Durham, North Carolina. So that was one of the first
Nice.
integrations. And she
Yeah.
was a
That's awesome.
founding member of the NAACP Commandos and the Freedom Riders, where she was arrested and jailed in Alabama and Mississippi. And she was also an integral part of the integration of the Howard Johnsons in Durham, North Carolina, and spent 30 days in jail as opposed to paying a fine. So she was definitely a advocate, and that's just some of the things that she did because she did tons of things, including some of her musical career as well, because she's actually one of the original singers in the musical collection Voices of the Civil Rights Movement. So she did a lot of
Nice.
things in that space. I was just wondering, Kay, what
Well,
are
thank
some
you
of
for
the
the
things
Black
that you
History
did
fact, because
in
you
your
know.
life that are very much activist oriented? And did you keep doing those things even after the aneurysm, or were you always active, or did you become more active? I heard you talk about your cooking, but were there other things that you were active in that you either maintained the activism in or that you picked up? Because one thing I remember about Makeda was she was an avid writer.
I stay very active. I like to sing. I like to dance. I like to be with. We have the Blessed Women of Wonder, but we started out as the Women of Wine Wednesday.
The wine down Wednesday. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And we stay active. Church activities, the Order of the Eastern Star activities. So I really do still stay busy. I call myself slowing down. So slowing down to me is I don't have anything to do on a Sunday other than go to church. Other than that, I stay busy. I retired over 10 years ago, and then I got called back to work. So I go to work 3 days a week, part time. I do recycling here in the city of Plainfield. And I stay busy
Sounds
and
like
I
you stay.
enjoy it. I enjoy it.
It sounds like you stay very busy. How important is your faith to you and everything
Yeah.
like that? Because that faith journey, I know a lot of times people are, when something horrible happens, they feel that they aren't that disease. I know my brother wrote a Facebook post about him having to come to terms with that is part of who he is a person with MS, and he wrote a very poignant Facebook post about I won't say 6 months to a year ago and everything along those lines. But I just wonder, how important is your own faith walk in your journey, and how do you use God and I won't say use God, but how does God help you in your journey of dealing with your I don't want to call it a disease, but dealing with what you're going through?
I think the way that God helps me in dealing with what I'm going through is because he keeps telling me, tell your story, spread the word, instead of saying, oh, this is what happened to me. No, yeah, this is what happened to me, but look at me. And trust me, I dance, I sing, I love to sing karaoke and have a good time and have fun. My faith, oh my goodness. I don't even know how you can put it into words how strong my faith is. And it came, Black people, we go to church. Little, you get teenager, you back off a little bit, then you get in your mid 20s, 30s, and you might go back. And then as you get in your 40s, 50s, you make sure you go more frequently, and you have that foundation from the start. And my mom and my grandma, I'm the oldest grandchild on one side of the family, but the foundation was laid, and you knew there was a God. You knew that if you couldn't handle it on your own, you took it to God. You didn't have to go to the church, to the preacher. You talked to God yourself. And they taught us that as we were children. You talk to God. Don't you ever let anybody else say, God told me to tell you this. You better take that back to the God that gave that to you, because my God didn't tell you to tell me nothing.
Right.
I talk to God on my own. And sometimes I get scared of how much I believe and how strong I believe that God takes care of everything. God takes care of you. Take it to God. And we know, if you believe, everything is not perfect. But with your faith, you know how to deal with it, how to handle it, how to survive it. And sometimes it's there as a lesson, and you learn that lesson, and then you say, look at God, when I thought he wasn't there. Because the day that the aneurysm burst and I was still in that office, I felt that Jesus wasn't with me. And I didn't understand, why would that be my first thought? Where's Jesus? They're telling me I'm sick, but I don't feel Jesus with me. And after time, it came to my attention that the footprints, Jesus was with me. He carried me through it.
Yes.
I just didn't realize it, that he carried me through it. Because I'm thinking, like I'm just going to feel like, oh, God got me, God got me. No, my head was going whoom, whoom, whoom. So I'm like, where God is? Somebody help. What's going on?
Yeah.
My favorite scripture, and I misquote a lot, and God knows that. But I can tell you the scripture versus the actual number.
Right,
but it's God did not give me the spirit of fear, but the power of love and a sound mind. And I've been standing on that most of my life and never knew why. But at I think I had the aneurysm at 57. So from a child, I'm saying that scripture, but look at 57. God gave me a sound mind.
Yes.
He gave me I had a stroke, but I knew who everybody was. There's some things that still, like Lindsay. Okay. And my friends will tell you that I'll mess up your name in a minute, but I'll try to relate something to you that'll make me kind of remember your name. And if not, I'll just say, listen, I don't remember your name, but I think your name is this. And they say, no, that's not my name. Okay, then what's your name? No, I'm not going to remember that. So make it simple for me, and they do. I like I said, I want you to accept my new normal. I'm not going to try to be normal
Yes.
for what you think.
No, that makes
I
a lot
want
of
you
sense.
to
you.
today's
But
new
you know
normal.
what? Kay, you just set me up because I always want to give some tools. So you just set me up. Because remember, I said we're talking about perseverance versus resiliency, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
So
yes.
we just gave all the listeners today what that looks like. And I'm so glad because you didn't know what you were going to say. We just let you do you.
No, I
So
didn't. No,
perseverance.
because you called me last night to do this today, and I,
Yes.
they say be ever ready,
Yep.
and I've been asking for God to help me get it out there and look at the platform.
And
I've
sometimes
Hallelujah.
been
what I've
giving
been
thought.
told, the band-aid needs to be ripped off. So guess what? I think today
You,
is the band-aid. But I'm going to
yes,
get
you
into
did.
this.
You ripped it off. I
Yep.
have, I have a family, a friend, my sister's, Ingrid Floyd. She
Mhm.
stays on me all the time. Listen here, do this. I found this for the foundation. I found this for the. You need to talk to this person. And sometimes I just want to hide down in the phone, but she makes sure if she sees I'm shrinking back, she
What she
pushes
needs
me
to say,
forward.
she's your champion in your corner. Because now I want to talk to what this is perseverance. That's the ability to persist in pursuing a goal despite facing what did you face? Obstacles,
Mhm.
setbacks,
Yes,
and difficulties. And you were determined to overcome those challenges and achieve a specific objective, life, right? Then the other
yes,
one, we're saying versus resilience. On the other hand, is the capacity to adapt and bounce back from adversity, stress, and difficult situations. You're recovering from that. And you have to move through those failures because we see it as a failure. It's not a failure, it's a test.
no,
That's what I had to change it. When they say turn the frown upside down, we tell the kids, what does that mean? Visually, you got to turn it around. Do you see
yeah,
the class as half full or empty? Right?
Right.
Positive
yes,
self talk. Everything that you talk there from a therapy model. I'm going to just tell you what they tell us in school is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Right? Cognitive
okay,
is what? Your brain, B is your behavior, and now the therapy is me working it. Sometimes therapy don't have to be the regular model. You don't have to sit and talk to the doctor. By us sitting here talking, this is positive self-talk therapy, CBT.
yes,
And see, this is the thing. These are out there. However, when it comes to certain people, it quantifies money. However, when you go to a spiritual place, right? You come as you are. So that's where the whole thing is. This is self-help. So really the whole goal here is Butterfly Room was developed through self-help, but it was paid to self-help. I referred there.
mm-hmm,
Wait a minute, why am
mm-hmm,
I going here doing all this? We can do it for free.
Yep.
Now, if you
yeah,
have an event, that's different. But you understand we're planting a seed. And today is
yes,
survivor story. And we're talking about
yes,
your perseverance plus your resiliency. That's what
yes.
I see.
And I can't do it by myself. Like I said, I am so blessed to have my sisters, then the sisters that God gave me, and my children, my husband. Everybody encourages me. They never say, "Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you had that aneurysm. You got to take it slow. You got to do this." When they told me I couldn't drive, I said, "Well, is there a way that I can drive?" They said, "Well, the state didn't take your license, but because of your brain injury, you're going to have to go back through the driving course."
Mhm.
Okay, I took the
Mhm.
driving course and they took me out on 287, Route 1. And I'm like, wow, they just threw me out here. I guess they said, if you want to
Take the
drive,
Band-Aid off.
you're going to drive. Yes. So that was how I was able to keep my driver license. And the first day that I started driving, I drove to Sarah's house. She came on the porch. She said, "Oh my God, she's driving." I said, "That's right. Get in the car. Let's go."
That's right. Looks like you have some friends that are
The
reaching out to you.
superwoman, the superwoman is out here. I
Yeah,
am
and it
telling
looks
you,
like we
that
got some
is
friends that are reaching out to you. We got a Sabor
the
2912
board, the
94.
board.
That's my brother. Yes. He looks out for me a lot. Yes, that's my brother. I love him.
And
I
we got
love
two
him.
fun knees that is talking
See?
that
And
that
look,
talks.
you have all your friends today, all your friends.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I say you see the support. And I'm not one that I like to shrink from the spotlight, but I'll
Mhm.
shine the spotlight. And they'll say, "Who got that light on back there?" And I'll just wave, say, "It's me." But then they'll say, "Well, come up here to the microphone." And I'll take the microphone, sing a song, right, Tawanda? I don't know if you're on, but Tawanda, no, I'll sing.
I have a question though. One
Yes.
thing that I know that at church I've been a little apprehensive because I would be singing in a choir,
Uh huh.
oxygen. So I'm just going for anyone listening to have anything that's neurological. I know it's like singing at church. Sometimes I
Hmm.
feel like there's like this, like a break or something. I don't know. Did you ever feel like that? If you're singing, when your brain, your central nervous system, you need oxygen. So I guess if I'm hitting a note, and then there was one time in my back, I was like, I felt something because I had a ablation in my back.
Uh huh.
So have you ever felt like that where if you're singing, do you feel like you're like like a pause in time?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes, every now and then, and like you said, it just depends on what the note is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now I
Because I
know
sing in
now you
the
say
church
that.
choir
Now
too.
you
Yes.
see,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
sing praise and worship because it's too many songs. So that's
Yes.
where, okay, thank you. So for anyone
Yes.
listening, I have a neurological, I have a neurosurgeon, all these people following me, I'm fine. But sometimes I have to calm down. So thank you for
Yeah.
confirmation because
Yes.
I see that's a red zone. I said certain activities are going to be yellow, orange, or red, right? The kids with the chart at school. So I said, okay, I'm
Yeah.
looking for that. And I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to ask anybody. But then what they said,
Yeah.
go to a meeting, do not leave with the same question not answered. So they answered the question. So for anyone listening, if you like to sing like I do and Kay does, if you sing a song and you have anything neurological, don't push it because we don't want you to tap out.
Well,
That's what that would cause you to
speaking
tap
of
out.
that,
So I felt like I was gonna pass out. I said,
speaking of that, I did get permission. He just gave me permission just now to recite the poem. So if you want to hear the poem about butterflies, I just heard from Eric
yes, yes, thank you.
Thomas Thompson, also known as Lyrically Blessed. So I just got permission from him to recite it. But if he pops in, he can recite it himself. But I'll go ahead and recite it.
No, he's
for
gonna
him.
know. Tell him we're putting it out there. He has to perform it for us, or just to send a recording for us. But thank
And
you.
yeah, he said he doesn't
We've
have a
been waiting.
recording as of yet, but I will give you my rendition. It's called, because it does deal with depression, everything like that. It's called, and he does a much better job than I do. But let's check out my version and everything like that. But it's called "Questions About Butterflies," or "Depression is Why This Poem is Beautiful." When I say the most common butterfly in the U.S. is the cabbage white, what I mean is depression is the most common mental disorder. My black heritage thinks it is mostly white. My black body feels like mostly cabbage. A black butterfly is often thought to be rare, but they do exist. Example, the giant swallowtail. And isn't that the perfect name for my black depression? A name that means a devourer of endings. When I say sadness is a hungry caterpillar, when I say my mind a leafy green, when I say depression feels like a cocoon, what I do not mean is for you to metaphor my good days into butterflies just so you call it an escape. When this smile wears like survival, and tomorrow is a reminder that maybe I won't, a reminder that monarch butterflies' wings are stitched in caution tape tapestry. In this body, depression wears a hungry crown. And to these butterflies, all I am is a flower, a black calla lily, composing while being consumed. So you can call this pain beautiful, call it a butterfly, a wean prayer. Do you know butterflies taste everything they land on? That's why their wings fold like they are saying grace. At least I be a blessed meal. At least I be something worthy of a prayer. At least I be beautiful. Even as the confusion of expression with emotional intelligence, I can be just as magical as the wings of a butterfly. Just look at the illusion of these tears. Watch me be both depressed and the reason for being it. Did you know their wings are transparent and their colors are reflections? I too am reflecting, just a prism of these colors. Too black for this view, too black for this you, too black to be blue. And who am I to question what I feel? What makes this page any less a flower bed? What make these words any less a nectared noose? Is this why these butterflies have a liquid diet? Is that why I am afraid to say help without blooming into a metaphor? Is this why depression is colorblind? Are butterflies just a sky full of promise? Is a meltdown just a flooded mind after the storm? Did you know some of the colors of the rainbow are actually radioactive? What color is your Chernobyl? Is your pain a primary color too? What I do know is that if my blood sees this sky long enough, it will become this shade of brown. Is that why I am seen as a wound? Is that why I feel like a wound? What color is healing? I know hope is a shade of green. Did you know there are not a lot of green butterflies? But they do exist.
Mm,
Wow, that was deep.
yeah.
That was very deep. And I want you to make sure that you invite him on. And I think Kay gonna have to come on again. We need to decipher. That was very loaded, but I understand because butterflies are all unique in their
Yep.
colors. I
Yes.
know when I
Yes.
ran, I was the
Yes.
black butterfly. I was named so that
Yes.
through my morphing process. And it's just weird because I love the song by Denise Williams and with the praise dance that I did. And then from there,
Yes.
it was symbolic for me because I didn't know what my symbol was going to be. So in 2022,
Mm-hmm.
that became my symbol. And then I just
Okay.
started to write and then everything else and just working on these manuscripts and just making sure it makes sense because there are people out here. And Kay, as you know, when you're going through a medical issue or anything, any loss, there are 5 stages of grief. And we've talked about that. And the hardest ones is acceptance and
Yes.
anger. And most of the time you get over it. But if you never ever release that, it affects you. So imagine your case, you're grieving, like you said, this is your new normal. What if you
Right.
grieve your old normal? And I don't want that to be such a hard question. But now I'm
Yeah. No,
listening to
I didn't
anybody.
grieve it at all.
And
One
see,
of
that's
the
amazing.
um one of the psychologists, because they send you, talk to different people, and she said, "How do you feel about what happened to you?" I said, "Well, how am I supposed to feel about what happened to me?" She said, "Well, are you mad? Were you upset? Uh, how do you feel?" I said, "I feel fine. I'm blessed." I said,
Hmm.
"I'm here."
Hmm.
She said, "Oh, well, did you ever say, why me?" I said, "No, I never said that because we go back to my faith. I
Hmm.
never said to God, why me? The only remorse I had was because the other people didn't live. People in the room next to me passed away. I would check with whoever came to visit me at the hospital and I would say, can you go next door and see how that person is doing? And they might come back and the nurse will say, don't tell her that they passed away. Just say, they're fine. We want to keep her brain activity level. We don't want her to get upset. But I was more concerned about everybody else being concerned about me, and I'm going to tell you I'm fine. And it wasn't a lie that, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. No, I feel good. And if I told them I'm not feeling too good today, what is the problem? Oh, I don't know. I just don't feel good. Okay. Oh, the light is bothering my eyes. All right, let's get a compress, or they let the nurse know. Why not me? I'm here to tell a story now. I see that.
But you know what the thing is? From what I've noticed is I tell folks, I mentioned this on the show. When you go to the hospital, I tell folks, go prepared. When you
Yeah.
go in with everything, when I went with having my son at any time, when I didn't have my bag, guess what? I stayed. So now whenever I go with conviction. You're wearing that armor. So that's the thing. For you, your story's not over. And you were willing because of your faith. And I say to folks, if you didn't, you wouldn't have that quench for life. Think about it. And I just know from hearing other folks, they have their down, they have good and their bad days. And
Yeah.
sometimes people need that pressure so that they can morph. Because butterflies, as we know, morph in 4 stages. So now
Yes.
we're looking at you. You're morphing in front of us today. Because I remember what you said in the back
Yeah.
room and what we're seeing today. It's your time,
Yeah.
honey. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And
My
you're
son
talking
called me the
more. I have
iron
stuff over
butterfly.
here I haven't even had to say as just to make sure. But you're doing a great job, right, Mark?
You're doing
She's
an amazing
sharing
job.
so many points because we need transparency for anyone that may have something. As you said, when you opened up, it was the symptoms that folks are turned away. And we
Yeah,
heard some of the folks in the news, babies are passing.
that's right.
And I just, unfortunately, as the government changes with everything, we need to make sure we have our over the counters at home and stuff like that. I like to
Yes.
keep it, and I love watch Walking Dead. And I said, well, what if there was an apocalypse? We would have some expired medications. So I always say, the expired medications, I keep it a little bit because guess what? If we had nothing, you have to take double the dose. So
Yeah.
just get your little over the counters in the house. That she said it was a headache. Those particular things, because sometimes what we say, oh, it's just a headache, right? Right? So
Well, yeah, a lot
imagine
of times we
if it was
think
just
it's
a
just a
headache.
headache, but
It's
and
not.
this was a question I had for Kay and
Mhm.
everything, because a lot of times there are a lot of people that have what I consider to be almost like mini strokes or mini aneurysms. Because even though
Yes.
a lot of the ones that we hear about are the ones like you had and that my friend Makeda had before she passed and everything, which is the bigger version. And then I've got another dear friend that has had multiple strokes
Hmm.
all along those lines. But I know a lot of people, including myself, have had vertigo, and vertigo sometimes can be another version of like the early signs of what could be eventually an aneurysm, because it's very similar in the sense of
Yeah.
like you have that dizziness and you don't know what's going on. The world is still literally going around in circles, and it might be that you just moved too fast or moved in a wrong direction. So it can be something minor, or it can be something that could be a hint of something that is a cue of something that could be more telling. So that vertigo can be a sign of something that is more telling, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mark, for that. I forgot about vertigo because that's something that they'll give you if you go to the ER. That's usually the first thing they give you. Unfortunately, they'll give you some type of medicine to take. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I wanted to mention this. I know you were talking about scriptures because I love this book, and it's prayers and promises for women. What I like to read. So
Okay.
we're gonna go to perseverance, and the one that it says. In a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize. You know that, don't you? So run in a way that will get you that prize. 1 Corinthians 9:24-25. Haven't you been running for that prize? Let's go to the next one. I have tried
Yeah.
hard to find you. Don't let me wander from your commands. What did you just say? What command was you hearing?
Keep moving, keep living.
And that's Psalms 119:10. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. I have fought the good fight. I have to finish the race. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4:7. Does that apply to you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Some scriptures for y'all. Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. So, my final question for you is what do you feel God is calling you to persevere in right now?
To keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up on the dream that he gave me about the Phoenix Foundation, to spread the awareness about the brain aneurysm. Continue to support so that the research can come, because we can live and we can survive. Keep moving, keep living, sing, dance. I can't cry, but if you can cry, cry, and then laugh, and then smile.
Thank you so much, Kay.
Yeah, that was
Thank
powerful.
you for your time today and
Thank you
taking
for
the
pushing
call.
me today.
You're welcome. Because when I write something down, folks that really know me, when I write something down, you were in my book. And
Yes.
I called the article. And I said, I couldn't find it. And I said to Sarah, what do you say, Lindsay? I said,
Lindsay, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry now. Yeah. Now
I won't
everybody
do
know
it.
the
I
code
won't do
name.
it. This is a safe place for that. I will never say that. But I answered her. I said, because you inquired. And she said, I'll send her the message. And look what God did today.
Yes. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Because this is what I want y'all to hear and everything like that. So I was first introduced to MS not when I was diagnosed, but through my aunt, and I was her support when she was fighting this battle. didn't understand why she would become so emotional at times when she was around family and it was time to go, and she would make statements like, "I shouldn't have come. It's too much of a burden."
Mm.
Now I understand. I didn't understand that. Let's start at the beginning. When I was first diagnosed, I was misdiagnosed with degenerative
Mm.
disease, and I went to see chiropractors. I went to see physical therapists, and after getting an MRI, I was sent to a neurologist. And when I walked through the door, there was a big sign over the door that said MS Clinic. And I just remember walking up to the counter and saying, "Could you give me some directions? I'm in the wrong place." And they asked me my name, and they said, "No, you're in the right place." And I said, "Well, do you do something other than MS?" And they were like, "No, we just treat MS." And that was the beginning of my enlightenment about this disease. My fiance joined me there, and it's so crazy. I had to do a test, and the doctor asked me to reach my hand out and touch my nose, like a sobriety test. And I
Mm.
missed. And he said, "Do it again." And I reached out just like I'm missing now, and I missed. And he said,
Mm.
"You have MS."
Mark, you have to post it on the page and on YouTube. Post that.
Okay.
So he was misdiagnosed. And how old was he, Mark?
Malik is 7 years younger than I am, so I'll be 63. Malik is 57, so this is like about 2 years ago, so probably around
Wow.
his early 50s.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
And see, anything that's neurological where people don't understand that is with your brain. As you said, we can't see it. And if you notice someone dropping things, there's different
Yes.
symptoms. Just inquire. Like we always say, you're gonna go Google. At this point, don't go Google. I would recommend going to a MediMerge, save your copay from the hospital because they're not like they used to be. I would
Right.
prefer you to go to a MediMerge because those doctors are more in tune to you. They're going to spend more time and it's not going to hit your pocket. So that's what I would recommend to anyone that's listening. Because here, when you're going as a hustable, that's more of a triage. But I
Right.
think that sometimes if a person doesn't have insurance, that's where we go. But at this point, if you're not feeling something, you see, they say see something, say something. You feel something, say something.
Yes. Trust your body.
Hmm.
Trust your body. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for that. And I know we're going to be wrapping up.
Mhm.
And Kay, you need to come on back here. We're every other Friday at 8, and at times we may be earlier. And then Dr. Diamond is not with us today because next week on the couch on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Also on
Okay.
YouTube. But yeah, here this is more of a laid back environment. We just like to have a survivor story because you don't want to just hear us talking. This is a movement. And for me, just being a professional who worked in this field for a very long time, and I just know what the need is. And as Kay had mentioned before, self help is not the way it used to be. Once COVID burst, folks don't
Yeah.
want to be as far as social distancing and things. Then you have stuff that's online. As you said, we will be having some in-person stuff. And now what I heard from her in September 2026, we will be partnering in that month for brain aneurysm because I have a issue and I know some
Yes.
others. And I think that movement is important. And we have to just make sure that we invest in ourselves and remember positive self-talk, as I mentioned before, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It's your brain and your behavior. But right now, we don't need to go and do what they say. We can take this into ourselves. As she said, music soothes her soul.
That's
And one of the
right.
things that we normally do to close out here is say some parting words. And we do have homework for next week because then that's when we have everybody else back. So just Kay, what we normally do, we'll do something interactive. We have some homework because now we have the
Okay.
survivor, then we're going to have the next show because last time we did listen because our girls, Madam Butterfly and Dr. Diamond, they're traveling. And sometimes we miss folks, but we get everyone else. And if you ever want to come back, just let us know. Okay.
Okay.
You have that poem that you
Thank
sent me.
you. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me. Thank
You're
you. I
welcome.
really, truly appreciated it.
Yes, and continue to participate. Or we have the Butterfly Room is also on Facebook, and she's actually one of our followers. So thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you. Mark, did you have anything else to say?
No, we have that poem that we were going to close out with that you also sent me and everything like that. So I have that other poem.
You have it queued?
Yeah, I have it
Yes,
queued and
so
ready to go.
definitely. So we want to
All
say
right.
to everyone, thank you for coming to the Butterfly Room. And this is the segment Survivor Stories. And if you are interested, you can email us at the butterflyroom2025@gmail.com. Also, Mark, I know we had some ribbons. Are you able to play that ribbon when we do the closeout, or that's not able to be done?
That'll be done on the edited version. It won't be done at this
Okay,
time.
it'll be on the edited version. So we want to make sure that, Kay, we're going to put your Phoenix Foundation information out. It's on the page. So if anyone wants to contact you directly or to make a donation, everything is listed. But thank you once again. And we have homework for next week. So folks, we hope to see you. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. As you know, this is free self-help. And we know if you have someone, just listen to them. Make sure that you don't diagnose yourself. Make sure that you talk to someone else. Journal your symptoms, because sometimes it can be overlooked. And as Kay said, it started out small, but she's still
Yes.
here. Thank you so much. And we wish you much blessings. And we know we're going to see you, so we ain't going to worry about that.
Yes.
This is not,
Yes.
this is just see you later.
Okay. Yes.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye for now. Take care. Thank you again.
You're
No
welcome.
problem.
All right.
When someone doesn't value you anymore, the first thing to do isn't to argue, explain, or beg them to see your worth. It's to pause. Not to punish them with silence, but to stop giving energy where it's no longer respected. People rarely say out loud when they stop valuing you. They show it in small ways. Less effort, less interest, less care, more excuses. And the mistake most people make is trying harder when the signs are already clear. They give more time, more patience, more understanding, hoping it will remind the other person of what they're losing. But value doesn't return because you overextend yourself. It returns when access changes. So instead of asking for explanations, start paying attention. Notice how often you initiate. Notice how quickly they respond. Notice whether your presence feels appreciated or merely tolerated. Because the moment someone stops valuing you, the relationship becomes one-sided in ways that quietly drain you. And that's where the real shift needs to begin. That shift starts with pulling your energy back, not in anger, not with drama, but with self-respect. You stop chasing clarity from someone who already made their choice through their actions. You stop filling the silence they created. You stop adjusting yourself to make them comfortable. Instead, you give yourself the space to see things clearly, without excuses, without hope blinding you, without explaining away behavior that hurts. When you do this, something interesting happens. They either notice the change and feel the absence of what they no longer had access to, or they fade even further, confirming what you needed to know all along. Either way, you gain clarity, because when someone truly values you, they feel the difference when you step back. And when they don't, your peace grows in ways their attention never could. You begin to realize that your worth was never something they could give or take away. It was only something they chose to recognize or ignore. By stepping back, you stop negotiating for basic respect. You stop proving your value through effort. You stop teaching people how to treat you by tolerating less than you deserve. This isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. You create room for people who show up without being chased, who communicate without being reminded, who value your presence without conditions. And slowly the anxiety fades, the overthinking quiets, the constant need for reassurance disappears. Because when you stop pouring into places that no longer honor you, you finally have space to pour into yourself. And that changes everything. You start choosing yourself in quiet, powerful ways. You protect your time. You protect your energy. You stop showing up halfway for people who are already gone emotionally. You no longer explain your feelings to someone who keeps dismissing them. You no longer wait for effort from someone who keeps showing you indifference. And this isn't coldness. It's clarity. You learn that being valued shouldn't feel like uncertainty. That love shouldn't feel like anxiety. That respect doesn't need reminders. As you step back, you begin to notice something else. How much peace you were sacrificing just to stay connected. How much of yourself you were shrinking to keep things alive. And once you see that, it becomes harder to unsee it. Because the moment you stop accepting less is the moment your standards start protecting you. And here's the part that matters most. When someone doesn't value you anymore, your job isn't to convince them to. It's to value yourself enough to stop participating in the loss. You let go of what no longer chooses you. You release the need to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you. You stop waiting for effort that should have been freely given. Because staying where you're no longer valued slowly teaches you to undervalue yourself. Walking away isn't weakness. It's self-respect in motion. And the moment you choose yourself, you create space for connections where effort is mutual, presence is consistent, and your worth is never in question. That's what you do when someone stops valuing you. You don't chase. You don't beg. You choose peace instead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.